We're good. Alright, I call to order the regular meeting of the East Haddam Inland Wetlands Watercourses Commission at 7:30 on May 20th. A roll call.
Randolph Dill, absent. Mary Augustini, absent. Brian Goff,
Present.
Daniel Janey, absent. Jennifer Burton Reeve, David Walls.
Present. Alright, and David, in the absence of nearly 3/4 of the Wetlands Commission, I will appoint you as a voting member this evening. Minutes, I have the regular meeting minutes for April 15th. I will entertain any changes.
The only
Or corrections?
changes I found was in page 3 at the bottom. A, BB Road, motion by Mr. Dill was made to make the changes to the letter. It was seconded by Mr. Walls, not Mr. Janey.
Alright,
In my notes.
Dave?
Yeah, I have just a couple of, probably just grammatical things on page 3 under option 2 for BB Road. Second line, it says about $5,000 in a full day work of work. Like just a full day of work there.
Oh, yeah.
And then under the Sheepskin Hollow Road repair, in the last sentence it said there's a desire to get this repair done as if the bridge is destroyed. It's probably before the bridge is destroyed. And that's all I have.
If you keep going there, I think it would be a $2 million repair, not a $2 million repair. Alright, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Alright, minutes pass. You know what
Because he's already passed it.
No bills?
No bills.
Okay. No bills it is. Field inspection report. Do we have a summary or did we not do one?
No, we did one.
Okay. Who was present for the field inspection report?
Myself, Jim, and Randy.
Okay. And that occurred on what day?
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Got it.
We're on the ball
I
here.
was in Virginia.
And we went to 143 Mill Road. We went to 74 Smith Road, Unit 11, Unit 31, Unit 38, and we went to 39 Stocking Lot Road.
Alright. Permit review, application A. 25-3 Stocking Lot Road, 25-3-39 Stocking Lot Road. Property of Robert and Elizabeth Faletti, map 66, lot 66, proposed construction of a seawall. You guys would like to?
Why don't I help you out here with what we got? The Floodies are here to put a small retaining wall, which we looked at last week, and the reason they wanna put it there is step off the shore is a little steep. It's not a big jump, but it's more than 2 steps and you can't just gradually go down. So they'd like to put a seawall up and on about a 40-foot section and a set of stairs so they can easily get down there. And they've already contacted Ernie Thody to do the installation, am I correct about that?
Yep.
Which he's conducted several of these projects by putting down a gravel base and then putting a stone to match in and blend in with the shoreline and stairways.
This is an example photo.
That's something that was done on the other side of the lake. And it's kinda had that same depth to it, you know. What's happening is between the wind coming out of the north and the boats going around in circles, it kind of eroded away the shoreline that was there. That's why it's got it's almost like a circle.
Yeah, see
The
that.
tree held it in place, but
The intent would not be to refill that, but it's just to stabilize it as is.
stabilized.
And these are interlocking or just, oh, it says right here, the capstone may
Yeah.
or may not be boarded, but the rest of it is just dry construction.
That way, when it freezes,
Oops.
it'll move, it'll push it, and then settle back in.
Now, is this scheduled to be completed during the drawdown?
It can be done now. Not guaranteed of a drawdown.
Are you putting stairs in?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that vertical dimension between average water level and the drawdown?
It's about 18 inches, would you say?
I'm sorry, what?
The top of the land to the step to the water, about 18 inches
At least.
at least, yeah. Probably not 24, but
Over the years, we probably put more sand back into the lake than anybody else takes out. Washes it.
And this work is all proposed by hand, no heavy equipment?
I think he's got a small excavator, a mini. It's so he'll be able to dig that out, and then if he has to move some of the larger stones, he can just grapple onto them.
Some of those, you don't even sit in some of those, you just control them from remotely.
He's working smarter than harder.
Okay, now you've got the silt fence.
Yep.
Hold on a second. Water level, base material, capstone, sediment and erosion control fencing, okay. Or stake tables, okay, that's what I was gonna ask, so either or. And what is the duration, like, what do we think it's gonna take, a week, a month?
I imagine he'll be done in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So the only material brought in is just like the pea stone and the rocks.
Correct.
Any questions, Jeff?
No, right there, looks good.
Dave, you good? So you're not even adding, where you've got erosion around the tree roots, you're not even adding material there, you're just adding stones to stabilize it.
Correct.
The only comment I'll make is, it says that you should be there before and after, look at it, I'm fine with that, but there's nothing that says photos should be taken, so I suggest you take some photos if you're gonna be there. Okay. Entertain a motion, Jen?
Move we approve application IWWC 25-03 Stocking Lot Road, Robert and Elizabeth Folletti, mapped 66, lot 66, proposed construction of a retaining wall with plans dated today?
You're not gonna see it.
I can't
Probably a
find them.
date there, I just can't see it.
I can't see it. Today,
Today it is.
with photos submitted to us after.
Alright, and a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you. You're welcome to come down anytime you want.
Well, but I'm 24 years Navy, your husband might not let me be there in the Army now.
Preferably you have to pay the suit.
Okay, we could leave now.
You can,
Okay, cause I don't drive good at night, you know.
alrighty then,
Okay.
look at that.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
You can go watch my favorite program.
Control board.
Go. Oh, yeah, it goes out.
Let's go. Come on. Good night, everyone. It's gonna be a beautiful walk. I can't wait.
Right like that.
All right, item B,
Okay, bless Bob.
application 25-4-74 Smith Road, Unit 11. Applicant is Stephen Simoncini? Did I say that wrong?
It's Simoncini.
Oh, so close. Map 49, lot 9, proposed septic holding tank. All right, you wanna give us an idea of what you're proposing?
The cottage, right now I'm just using a propane fire toilet in the cottage.
I'm sorry, a propane what?
It's a
Propane fired toilet,
Yeah,
toilet,
propane
okay.
fire toilet. And I wanted to get a holding tank so I can install a regular flushing toilet in the house. So it includes installing the tank and tying in the necessary toilet.
What is the distance from the edge of the water to the proposed tank installation site?
I do not have a drawing of something I can look at one and.
You got that on there, Jim? Alright, Jim might be able to save you on that.
80 to 85 feet.
Okay.
About the same distance off the water as my neighbors.
And that's a backhoe type installation, I imagine?
Yes.
What's that?
30. That's it, they show up, they dig a hole.
30 feet, 20 feet? Not even? Just below the frost line, that's it?
Oh, yeah, it's below the, yeah, cause this cap's gotta be visible so they can pump it out on a regular basis. It's a 2,000 gallon tank.
Like 4 to 6.
Yeah.
It's a small picture, so I can't see, do they have any sort of, well, it's a 1 day, so they really don't need any erosion control. It's 80, so,
They actually have erosion control on them.
okay.
So, just in case it takes longer, they got it wedged in. If you wanna take, here's the bigger one.
But also, it's hard to tell, but the topo lines look pretty decent, looks like it's fairly flat.
Yeah. Then
Where's the well? Is the well up here?
There are no wells, it's all water intake.
Got it. You're drinking pond water.
They don't
No,
drink
we
it.
don't drink that.
Yeah, there is, I don't know if you guys know that, there's a well on the public road that they can draw off of on the way in.
Okay.
Very much glamping there.
Why, curiosity, why are they removing, oh, I'm sorry, they're removing and replanting that shrub, not that one, okay. That makes sense, because they can't get in there, but it's nice if they're gonna put it back again. And, what's this? The idea-
that's number 12, holding tank.
Got it. So he's putting the similar process, but
Yeah.
they have 3 caps, he's got a
Yeah.
single cap. Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my neighbor's holding tank
Yeah.
just to the
Yeah.
right of mine, yeah.
There's one there from the neighbor too. But this is an installation, I don't think it's a replacement. Right, you don't
It's
have,
new
yeah, this is
installation,
Brand new,
yeah.
yeah.
but I mean, if the other people
Yeah.
around them have the same type of deal, and this is 80 something feet from the water, I don't think we have any issues, so. Okay. Here, you're gonna need, I'll let him do the motion, but he's gonna need it for the see it better than this thing.
Dave's turn.
Oh, there you go. You would never be able to see that on this one.
Okay. I propose that we approve application IWC 25-0474 Smith Road, Unit 11, Stephen Simoncini, applicant and property owner, map 49, lot 9, proposed septic holding tank per plans dated 3/25/2025. What provisions do we put on photos?
Actually, no, because
Yeah,
it's
it's
all
all
inspected by the
underground.
health district and it's underground.
I do have one note that just came to me, just a clarification.
Sure.
You're not increasing the size of the bedrooms to meet the septic, you're gonna have this exact same floor plan, all you're doing is just
He's actually-
changing.
He's not doing the house, he's just doing the tank, that's it.
Yeah, I'm not
There's no
doing anything to the house.
proposal to increase the size of the house or the number of bedrooms, just replacing that, or installing that tank, and that's it.
So the way Wildwood works, the agreement with the DEP, they can't increase the number of bedrooms.
Alright, so even if they wanted to, they could.
Yeah.
Alright, so I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Alright, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Alright, congratulations.
Thank you.
Grab mine, it was upside down there from the first one. You have two first ones, not that it matters. Alright, application C, 25-5-74, another Smith Road, unit 31, just down the street. For Charles and Margaret Kaufman, map 49, lot 9, for proposed dock replacement. Are you Mr. and Mrs. Kaufman?
I'm Mr. Kaufman, this is my daughter.
Alright,
Mrs. Kaufman couldn't make it, unfortunately.
alright. So why don't you guys give us an idea of what you have and what you would like to do?
We had just replaced the home, the cottage that is there. We had a dock existing for many years there, and we just, that had to be removed for various reasons, for age and so on. So we want to put a new dock in, obviously, for our boats on the lake.
Now, it looks like you're proposing a 6x26, what was there prior to the destruction of the last one? How big was the original one?
If you look at the plan, there's one it's sketched on there. It's relatively small. I think it's an overlay, you see next to it.
It is next to it, there
Yeah.
aren't any measurements, but
Yeah, there's
I mean,
no
I would eyeball it to say it was probably a 10x10.
I think that's fairly close, yeah. That was built, oh gosh, I don't know how many years ago that was there, into the water and so on.
And that is gone at this point?
Well, we took that out some time ago.
Now, the proposed location extending that dock outward,
Yes,
your neighbors to the north, you're gonna be less, their dock's gonna be shorter, but your dock's gonna be longer than your neighbors to the south. Do you have a particular vessel in mind that you're gonna be keeping at the dock?
we do have a pontoon boat and we have a ski boat. Both are 20 feet long.
What's the draft, do you know?
The draft, it's well, the pontoon boat virtually is no draft.
Right.
I would say
4 inches.
the ski boat, it is an inboard, it's probably no more than 36 inches.
And do you have any idea what the depth is at the end of this proposed dock? Depth to water?
If I took a wild guess, it's probably around 7-8 feet, I would think.
Now, would there be a reason that you couldn't go with something that was 6x12? Why did you pick 6x26?
Well, for obviously the purpose of so we could dock both side by
On each
side,
side.
we did that at least 20 feet. And I think there was some comments back and forth that there was talk about limiting the space to like 16 or 18 feet, give or take. I think one thing I saw, and we're just saying, well, 20 feet, at least the two boats could then sit there very easily. Tell you the truth, the whole idea,
So when you look at the shoreline, it drops sorta, but there's some rock, so
Yeah.
if it was 20 foot long, they would be able to walk into the side of the boat, hop and get in. If it was 16 or shorter, they may not be able to get into where the steering wheel and all that entrance part is. Cause they're not gonna be able to go right directly up against the shore. Cause between wave action and banging and the
What about
shallowness on the left-hand side. or
What
the
about
north
something
side.
similar to the dock to the south there, that L shape?
I think that might get more intrusive, cause if you're trying to swing the boat around. We talked about that, about a T or an L or
Yeah.
something like that.
Mm.
And I think maneuvering around, this is the rocky side of the lake, it's full of big boulders, so if you try to back it up, you might be wrecking a prop or two every once in a while. This way, they should be able to point the boats in and back out safely.
And this is wood construction or metal?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know if we've settled that yet. More than likely, I would think it probably would dock.
Sometimes you run into problems that people get brand new wood docks and they wanna make sure they're nice and preserved, and so they walk out while it's sitting on the water and then they hit it with some sort of a chemical or a stain and it goes right into the water. So if it is metal or if it's Trex PVC, you don't have that issue, but if you go with pressure treated lumber, or I guess in this case be non-pressure treated, because you don't really need to do much pressure treated for the first year at least.
Kind of a problem doing that.
Removing that from the water before you do that would be a
No, we don't
concern.
want to believe that lake is so clean and precious to us. We've been there for many, many years, so we have no problem with that.
You and your neighbors are drinking the water, so.
Do you plan on removing the dock at all, during the winter?
I don't think you can, I don't think because of the size and, you know.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if you did, some of the metal decks are rollable, and it makes it much easier to remove it, that
They
way
come
you
in
don't get wave action or anything
They
like
come in
that.
sections too.
They come in sections.
Makes things life a little easier,
If
so
it's
you,
possible, that makes sense, if we can flip a piece in, you know.
And then it's
I don't-
easier, yeah.
I think we could probably work with that, that's for sure.
yes, take a look at that, because we actually had ice this year. And ice is your worst enemy when it comes to docks.
We know.
Hence the reason the other dock is gone.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, you should, you should look at your options and see what, can do.
Have you been there long enough to know if your neighbors take their docks out?
I think some do, I
Or they
think.
pull sections.
Yeah,
I
they
had
have a
one
pull section, some have rafts into the water, hanging out further, those are typically put back on land. Yeah. But I
Dock
think
to the
most
north
of
is
yeah,
definitely a permanent fixture.
most of the docks are fairly permanent,
You had eyes on, what do you think?
Oh, how much of the dock is gonna be resting on land?
On land,
Yes. Is it gonna be mounted
it's all,
to the,
I bet the piece that's put together on land is probably gonna be no more than, I would think, a foot if that.
okay,
Most of it's really in the water.
alright. Yeah, I just, the thing with the length of the dock is it reduces the area that people can motor around the lake.
Well, this is certainly, it's a no wake zone.
And a no-
It's,
So nobody's going down through there
Well, the other
skiing or
thing was,
anything.
they're not
They're not
coming in
coming
here
in
because
here.
of these two, that's
Yeah.
why I was.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say, Jim, is
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, that's it.
Just for some justification, if we could get some soundings from that.
Actually, we don't need it. Right up close to shore, it drops off quickly to 3 feet. And I think it's a little deeper in there, cause I used to ice fish it. So I think if you had a 20 or 22 foot dock, it'll support the 20-foot boats. Cause it is tight up against the shore, but
We're thinking it's like 6 feet at that 26 distance?
oh, easy. Yeah, that's not the problem. The problem is
Getting the
the
boats
length
matching
of
up.
the
Right.
boats
Yeah.
matching up.
Matching up.
Yeah, it's the length of the boats,
Yeah.
it's. And they don't make small pontoon boats.
No, that's true. What about you, Dave, what do you think?
it's not gonna be much further than the neighbor's dog.
I don't think it's actually gonna be
This one, it's kinda even.
exactly, and it's
Yeah,
shorter than
and
that
it's
one.
yeah.
I-
24 feet?
I don't think 2 feet.
2 feet's gonna make
Actually,
a whole heck of a lot.
24 feet might be a good number only because they can buy them in sections of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. And that may, if you're going with a metal dock, they have 8-foot sections.
They even have the rubber or the what's it, heavy duty plastic ones coming too.
Yeah.
They're also 8-foot sections, so everything's in 8s, so that may be
That'd
advisable.
be easier for you to get.
If you don't think that 2 feet will make a huge difference to you, I think that makes sense, because now you're going in 12-foot sections. 26 is not, I'm sorry, you're going in
12 or
12-foot sections.
The 12-foot section, I mean, two 12s.
So in other
Two
words,
12s
you're
or
proposing
2
26, we're saying 24 would work, because then you could use 2 12-foot sections. Or 4 6-foot sections, it's just a number that works, because they typically come in those lengths.
I'm sorry, you manufacturing, yeah, okay.
Correct.
Sure.
Unless you had somebody come out and build it from scratch, but it doesn't sound like you're gonna do, you're gonna bring pieces in one way or the other.
Yes.
Alright, yeah, go ahead.
I move, we approve application, 25-574 Smith Road, Unit 31. Charles and Margaret Kaufman, map 49, lot 09, proposed dock replacement, with plans dated
You're gonna have to-
somewhere.
It's down in the corner, but I can't read
Right
here.
Oh, that's 12/10/2020.
it. Yeah, okay, well, you got glasses.
With a maximum length 24 feet.
Maximum 24 feet. Okay, that's fine. It's 6 feet wide.
Yes.
Yeah, the width is no problem.
Yeah,
not a
with-
problem.
it's not.
Alright, I have a motion, how about photos? I guess photos, would they help us to have?
Yep.
Yes, photos after
Completion.
installation.
Alright, I have a motion, do I have a second? Second it is, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, you guys have a
New
dock
dock,
or
new dock.
approval for a dock.
We're getting there.
Okay, big maps for this next one.
You can have both, cause I've seen them enough times.
We can probably just open one.
Yeah, we could probably open one. You guys can look over my shoulder. Alright. So, item D, application 250674. Everything tonight, Smith Road. Unit number 38. Rena Derryberry and Jeffrey Overstrom, the applicants and the property owners. Map 49, lot 9, proposed cottage and septic holding tank.
Right, and it's gonna get amended a little bit.
Okay.
Jennifer brought up,
Yeah, I
while
would,
we're out in the field,
while we were out in the field, I walked down the shoreline and they have 2 retaining walls fairly high up on the, I would say here.
Okay.
This one, and there's another,
There's one up
one over here. This one's blown out. Or is it's gonna be shortly, and I would suggest putting that on this application and then, you know, and while the cottage is down, then it's gonna be a lot easier to repair it anyway.
so Jim Curtin came in today, cause he's gonna do the work, and he said sequences, erosion control will go further to the east, below the retaining wall there,
Oh, here, okay.
Yep, so it's gonna move.
Here, yeah,
to the bottom,
to here.
here,
and
Oh,
then.
down here, way down here.
probably down here.
Yeah, okay.
And then what he's gonna do is, he's gotta remove the building, build the retaining wall first. He said it'll be a little bit lower because the first floor elevation of the basement's gonna be a little lower, so it's not gonna be as big of a retaining wall.
Yeah,
And then he's gonna build his way backwards to get out of there.
sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
So
because,
take that out, demo that, and then just rebuild that and work its
And
way
then
backwards.
work that.
Kinda uphill, I imagine, right? Yeah.
because this is, you know, those contour lines are for real.
Yeah, it's real
it drops
steep
off.
in
That's
here,
like-
yeah, that's, yeah.
Steep, that's greater than 20, how are they gonna get in there? That's a greater than 20% grade, how is he gonna do that, build it right into the side?
Jay works miracles.
He's amazing.
I mean, the Kaufman House wasn't easy either, and he did Beelman around the corner, which was on Laurel Cove Road. That's a tough one.
So
This is gonna be easy compared to
This is
that.
the same footprint, same size, same number of bedrooms, everything?
It's slightly larger in
Looks
footprint.
like it's here, it's a little bit larger.
It's to the north, it's a little bit larger. It also is gonna have a second story, but it has the same bedroom count.
Okay.
And has DEP given us a response yet, Beck, or not? Do you aware?
I don't believe so.
Not
As-
yet.
as of yet, yeah.
So we coordinate this, they won't be able to build until DEP says yes. And Antonella usually contacts me as soon as she gets it, to make sure that she's reading it the way I'm seeing it, we're on the same page.
Well, it's a holding tank, so
Yeah.
it's.
Right.
Is there a holding tank there now? There's not a system
No,
there.
no.
I didn't think so. No, it's nuts.
Nope.
Alright, so you guys are removing the existing holding tank and putting a new one in?
No, there's no holding tank.
So there's nothing there.
It's an outhouse.
Alright,
And then the only change in the actual structure is about 4 feet to one side.
yeah, see that, yep.
Yep.
And then is that deck a new deck or is that an existing, that's just gonna be removed
It's
and
an-
replaced?
Yep, existing deck, and so it won't go closer, be the same deck, won't go closer to the water
Yep.
or toward the property line.
It's gonna remain an open deck.
Yes.
What's your dock scenario? I see two there.
The dock looks fairly new.
Yeah, I think we would keep the existing dock. And that's kind of where it's at now, the existing dock, and then there is a small walkout for the, a boat
Yep.
on either side. Which is wooden at this point. Heavy. Connected to the shore, and then the protrusion dock, we can unhook and we take it out during the winter.
And you're not gonna need to store any soil on site, I take it, huh? I don't see any piles.
No, cause it's all rock.
It's all rock, yeah.
Well, that
He's
is
actually gonna
going up.
use some of that rock that's on that property for the retaining
So,
wall.
and then they're putting this in, I'm sorry, Jim, what'd you say?
He's gonna use some of that rock that's there.
For that retain,
For the
for the
retaining
replacement of the
wall.
retaining wall? I'm sure you have to bring some in though, right?
Maybe not. It's bad.
There's a lot of rock there. I don't know how much he can break it up. There's
Yeah.
there's mortar.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so he thought that the larger stones would be a more permanent solution, and since they're on site, he'd go with that.
Pretty big rock.
He kinda did the same thing at Kaufman's. The one with, at the dock, where
Yeah.
the stone there.
Yeah.
What's this wooden bridge go over? I don't see, it's going over nothing. Does the wooden bridge go over any water course or is it just there for show?
That's actually got a small intermittent stream
It's hard to tell.
that comes through. If you look up close to the road,
Not many. Yeah.
at the beginning, it says there's a 15-inch
Yeah, RCP,
pipe.
yep,
Yep.
does it come out there?
And then it kinda meanders.
Oh, you can see
Oh,
it
yeah.
there where it goes down, okay. Right. We're not changing that, we're not changing the flow to that,
No.
everything is below that, so that's not gonna be an issue.
There, and I guess this is what's his face.
So they park the box down the bottom.
Is this a pathway that, yeah, they're gonna have a pathway here. With railroad tie steps, timber. You're still gonna have stairs down on the side of the building to the
East.
Yeah, we think
Yeah.
we're gonna keep the stairs in the same current place.
It's much easier.
Alright, this is remove and replace essentially, a little bit bigger,
Yeah.
but. Same number,
Same-
footprint for bedrooms.
Same bedroom.
Health department will have a hack at that, which is really
Yeah.
nothing, just a tank. It's your turn?
It's Dave's turn.
Okay.
Dave's turn.
Now there's no. You know what I
You got a
suggest we
date on
do?
these, Jim?
Should be in the corner, isn't it?
We'll be in a second.
I've got March of 2025.
There's nothing on these, so I put today's date. Where do you see that? Oh, March 2025. Alright, we can use that. Oh, you know why? Look. That's why. This is the.
He's gonna have to revise them with the new.
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna move that we approve application IWWC 25-0674 Smith Road, Unit 38. For Brina Derryberry and Jeffrey Overstrom, applicants and property owners, map 49, lot 9. For proposed cottage and septic holding tank per plans dated March of 2025.
Don't forget the retaining wall.
With the inclusion of retaining wall, stone retaining wall repair
Looks like it would be to the northeast.
to the northeast, let's say that. And pictures upon completion to the land use office.
Great. Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Let's go. Alright, item E. Application 25-1-143 on Mill Road for Adrian Nile, Reed, Hildebrand, William Chilton, property owner, map 21 lot 2, proposed rebuild portion of existing retaining walls. Addition of a single stone sluiceway crossing, plantings, lawn path, and open joint stepping stone terrace. Like it. Yeah, that works. Alright, do we have a representative present? Come on up, or let us know what you plan on doing, you can do it from there or come on up, it's your call. You are?
I'm Adrian Nile.
Okay.
Hildebrand.
Alright, great. So talk to us and let us know what you have and what you'd like to do.
Sure. This is an old mill building, it was renovated a year ago now. Basically, there's lawn out here. It's the old mill sluice way. It's really very interesting. It still is active and it actually goes under the building. Through here, what we would like to do is have the ability to circulate around the property this way. There's an old fieldstone retaining wall here, and as you'll see, we're proposing to rebuild it. That would allow for steps in the wall that would kind of be built into the wall, the same material as the wall. This is all lawn today. We would like to bring really what's a wet meadow-like condition a little bit further upland.
This is existing wet meadow?
Yep, and
Yeah.
maybe we should go to the proposed.
Yeah,
condition.
that's what I was gonna,
Yeah.
where's? What, is that one?
It's really just a natural, yeah, one more.
It's got ferns and skunk cabbage
Okay,
and
that's nice.
really
Absolutely.
nice, yeah,
Yeah.
real nice, they left it
Gorgeous.
pretty much all the way around here, it's
So this
Natural
line, we
bound.
kind of proposed pulling it back a little bit. We're also proposing plant bed along here on the edge, and so what you're left with is a strip of lawn, kind of like
Okay.
a lawn path. And there's a series of these existing stone terraces, big stone. There'd be another one here, the old sluiceway crossing. We're proposing a flat boulder that would span sluiceway. This is an existing one that's been there for as long as everyone known. It's really just following kind of the language that was there before us. This top of the wall, the top 2 feet is built out of little stone. To me, it was like the bottom was quite built by a mason who knew what they were doing. I think the top was just piled on. So we're recommending rebuilding the top of the wall and leveling it a bit. There'll be a step, because this wall's higher than that wall. This will be flush here.
Even
step
with the
down.
addition of these larger stones, you're still gonna have a difference?
Yeah, we still, because we're trying to work with grade and minimize.
Okay.
Import or export, trying to create a balanced site. And here's that stair that I talked a little bit about. You can see how the wall would fan out a bit. There's a detail in the set for that. And then there's a few shrub planting and sycamore. This is an existing sycamore, quite nice there as well. And that is,
Do you know where your well is?
It's way off.
It's
yeah,
way
Way
off.
out in the
Yeah,
distance.
it's not. You wanna see the rest?
Yeah, the
So
planting-
you're not adjusting the sluiceway at all,
No.
you're essentially modifying the adjacent stone walls in one way or the other.
Yeah, and the
adding
sluiceway is
across
over
it.
here, this
Yeah,
wall's not
that-
even part of the
this is-
sluiceway.
this is
an
the
earthen
sluiceway.
dam.
Oh, okay, got it,
This is-
yep, yep.
A very
Yep.
interesting kind of a historic.
We've been there before.
I think I know where this
Cause
is.
we were there
Yeah.
when this building.
Yeah, okay, I know exactly where
You
it
know, we're
is.
trying to preserve all
Yep,
that
yep, yep.
historic character.
I remember that.
Just out of curiosity, just sweeps in an arch underneath there?
No, it doesn't. It actually,
It's actually
a
on a right.
90-degree
It's a 90.
turn.
Wow, okay.
And they must have they do regulate all the water when it was originally engineered and designed a century ago here to make sure that it wouldn't be overwhelmed. And it's lasted for a century.
So like I was saying, you're not adjusting the sluiceway in any way, shape or form, you're simply adjusting
We're
stone
not.
walls, stairs, and a patio,
Yeah,
and some
even
plantings.
this is just the top of the wall.
Right,
We don't wanna.
Right, you're not adjusting the flow, the direction.
Zero.
You're essentially rebuilding some stone walls,
Yep,
adding a patio, and some plantings.
that's right. Yep, and reducing the amount of lawn. We did a lot of fern plantings in this area.
Yep.
So this is primarily gonna be ferns and ground covers, some viburnums.
And there's some outbuildings down here somewhere, I think I remember some outbuildings somewhere in this area.
There was something up, there's the artist.
There was
Yeah,
there's
like a
ice-
little artist.
There's just a remnant of an ice house.
Yep.
That's just off the building,
Which
just a
we-
foundation.
Which is gonna get rebuilt.
They're gonna renovate the ice house into a studio.
Studio, that's what I thought,
Okay.
yeah.
In the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
and
it'll
one
tie
thing
in
is
with
here is
everything and.
it's,
Well-
all natural stuff
Right, and
anyway,
it's-
and they're just gonna add to
Well,
it.
your key point early on was important, you're gonna extend the wet meadow.
That's
Yeah,
right,
extend
so
the wet-
So
we're
you're
gonna
gonna
actually
incre-
reduce,
You were gonna increase habitat.
I bet you were
That's a
reducing
huge
the lawn
plus.
by half
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're adding a lot more biodiversity to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our goal is really that look is quite beautiful, we wanna bring it up, we'll do as much as we can with seed, and we're just hoping that naturally the existing material will also seed into it. There's not a tremendous amount of invasives in this zone,
Amen.
so, right.
Okay.
We will fight that battle, keep it that way.
Fighting that battle for 20
It
years
is
in
a
my
battle,
house, yeah.
so. That's
Let me make a suggestion, and that is that on that wet meadow point, because wet meadows are rare and they're valuable, at some point you may wanna be able to add to your application that we plan to add X amount, whatever you wanna do, acres, feet.
Yeah.
Of wet meadow. Because then if we get questioned, we can say, well, their mitigating action for A was to add the wet meadow, which is a
Yeah.
very, very major plus. And if we have an idea of how much that is, even if it's 100 by 200 feet, we'll have an idea, we know we can get.
Even this is all fern planting, it's a
Yep.
little
Yeah.
different, but there's actually habitat creation even there as well.
So a description of that would help us greatly. Not that it looks like you wanna do a huge amount anyway, but that's just a huge plus that you're doing that. And to be able to codify that, would really be a good thing.
All right.
This is your first date, so we actually have to did you guys walk this already?
We walked.
Yeah, so we don't schedule a field walk, so we just have to continue this to our next regularly scheduled meeting. We can't act on something the first time it's in front of us, so.
But my thought is if we had the square footage of habitat increased in an email, I don't think he has to come back all the way from Massachusetts, to
No.
come back down.
I didn't
here.
realize you were coming from Mass. No, I don't.
Bridge was closed.
No. How'd you get
Google
across?
didn't tell me.
How'd you get across? Did you go all the way down to
I had to
Bayshore?
go all the way down, like there's gotta be a bridge nearby.
You can't take a ferry.
And I thought you were just good on timing.
Oh, I made it by the.
Yeah, no, I would think if Jim has all the information, if we have
Okay.
questions, worst case scenario, we could continue it one more time before we run into problems, and but we could, I don't think there's a huge issue
So do
here.
you want me to put that in like a amended application, put it in an
Just
email?
add
send an
information.
email saying we're
Okay,
creating.
I can give you all the
X,
numbers on
yeah.
it, they're all very positive, it's a
yep,
good
yeah.
story.
Out of curiosity, who's guiding kind of the plant selection and the what now? Okay.
And we have experience out there, we did 2 acres of it already, kind of
Yes.
learned.
That's been
With the
5 years, 6 years
Yeah.
now?
Or.
Is it really? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
And this is all done by hand, you're not dragging equipment in here for this, I wouldn't imagine,
Well, we're gonna need to get a
To
small piece of equipment.
to drop
And
those.
Yeah, to get those in there and
I wanna know how much
But
that one's gonna weigh.
Yeah, that one, you definitely can't win that one by hand,
Right.
but I mean, outside of that, you're not digging, that you're moving
No,
stuff.
you know, we want it to be kind of crafted, so
Yeah.
it'll be a mason's working to get that original look. There's beautiful, just like this whole area.
Yeah, but this is a really pristine,
It's
this is a really nice
beautiful
property.
It's great,
Very
very,
unique.
and it's firm, we've been fortunate enough to be working on it for over a decade now, and the owners are very focused on like stewarding. That's the word that we keep thinking about.
In this area, for by Burnham, high bush, cranberry, and blueberry thrive around
Okay.
here.
Good to know.
Okay, alright, good,
All right,
so
Mike, then I
shoot him
will-
that info
sorry,
and then,
I will email you.
Yeah.
Just all
That'll
the
work.
metrics on it.
Yeah.
and the third Tuesday of the month is when we meet, so the third Tuesday of next month is when we be voting on this.
Okay, great.
I move we continue, do we have to?
Yeah, no, that's fine, you got a motion to continue,
Motion to
do I hear a second?
Second.
Alright, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are continued till our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Oh, nice to meet you all.
Good seeing you again.
Alright, application 25-8, 215 Town Street for Doan Engineering, Jeff Renundo, is that right? Renato? Proposed map 10 lot 26, proposed single family home, barn and a driveway.
So, we're gonna have to take a field walk.
Okay?
We haven't been there. I told Bob Tony who's got a meeting at Killingworth and I said, well, you can't get there from here because the bridge is closed. I said, we'll see you at the next meeting.
Isn't he Centerbrook, right? Bob?
Yeah, he's done at Sunbrook, yeah, but he had a Killingworth meeting and he said, then I can make my way over. I went,
Thank you.
right.
You gotta pick what side of the river you wanna be on, buddy.
Yeah, and seeing that we haven't been there yet, I said it'd be
Yeah.
better off that he
Okay.
show up.
Alright, well then I'll move that we push this to our next regularly scheduled meeting and schedule a field walk.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Excellent,
Yeah.
alright. Next application is discussion, moving to the
No.
discussion? No?
Oh, do you have the amended one?
I did.
I'm working on this.
We go.
Leesville
I'm
Road,
sorry.
or is this an actual application?
Here's an actual application. I'm sorry.
No,
I thought she.
No.
You're on, Phoebe.
This is
My notes are.
item Gulf G. 101 BB Road, Nemaget Consulting, Catherine McCabe, map 63, lot 6, proposed construction of a detached accessory one-bedroom apartment in the Upland Review area. Give us what you got there,
That's a
Roger.
5.5 acre lot, and it's on BB Road. If you're heading south on BB Road, it's about 1/10 of a mile south of where the pavement ends at that 90-degree corner, and you start heading downhill. It's way back from the road, surrounded by hayfields, and it does front right on Upper Moodus Reservoir. So north is straight up. This is the Upper Moodus Reservoir. And this lighter gray is a fringe wetland along the edge of the reservoir. So BB Road, take the driveway out here, BB Road's over here somewhere. And it's developed with an existing single-family residence, was built in the late 80s. And these people that now purchased it would like to do a detached one-bedroom accessory apartment. The house was actually built by Danny Dill. It's gone through a couple of owners since then. So this is the existing 3-bedroom house, cross-hatched area. It's got a well that's located down in the driveway towards BB Road. And then the septic system is down here to the west of the house. So the yellow line is the upland review zone from the wetland.
So the septic is inside the Upland Review.
It is, yeah.
Because it was
Back then, it was probably
shorter,
75.
75. Yeah.
So it was all legitimate at that time, but. So the way the code works, we are not going to have to do any work on the septic system. The existing house is 3 bedrooms. The accessory dwelling unit would be 1 bedroom, so that's a 33% increase, I guess. Less than 50, that's the magic number. So if it's less than 50, you don't actually have to build the system. You have to demonstrate that there's a reserve area if you need it. And that's what we've done here. The light dashed are the existing septic system, which is 3 leaching trenches. The heavier dash is our reserve area to prove that we have a code compliant area. We're not proposing to build it, we're not required to build it, so it's not really activity in the upland review area because no construction is going to take place. We had the existing system inspected by camera. It's in very good shape. Soil conditions there are excellent, deep sand and gravel, no groundwater issues. So we don't think that this reserve area is going to come into play anytime in the future.
So it's from a septic perspective, you're essentially adding 1 bedroom, and you're telling us that the septic will operate. You expect it to operate as designed with no effect whatsoever on it.
That's correct.
Where the increase would be managed accordingly, I should say, because there isn't going to be an increase, but it will be managed by the current septic system.
Yeah, so I mean, the state health code recognizes that septic systems have a little more capacity that are designed. So they give you basically, the 1 bedroom. Although actually, if it was a 4 bedroom, you could actually add 2 bedrooms without doing anything with the system. So it's a 50% is the magic number. But you're at 1/3, and the existing system's in very good shape based on the inspection, so that don't anticipate any issues. But what we'll do is we'll plumb from the accessory apartment to a new tank up here, and then into the existing tank. So this is just a bit of overkill, I think, that the owner wanted, secondary tank, not necessary, but they asked for it. So we'll put it in. And we don't really have any mitigation shown on this. So we're thinking probably pick up the roof leaders on the new building, put them into either infiltration system or a rain garden. I think when we do the site walk, we'll get some input at what you think would be better there. I mean, I think the soils are really good for infiltration system. But if you think when we're out there and you look at it, then maybe a rain garden is better.
What does the existing building have for drains? I'm sorry.
The existing building has no drains.
So just sheet flow. So you would propose doing something with the existing building as well as the new building to address it?
We haven't proposed anything.
Right.
We would anticipate at least doing the detached, and if during the site walk, we felt that we should
Adjust the existing.
adjust the existing too.
Got it, understand.
And as I think about it, you know, I haven't really noticed what the gutter system is on the existing house. So we'll pick that up when we do this.
Okay.
And there is a pretty good slope from the building down to the water. So that might influence whether we do infiltrators or rain guard.
Will this have a foundation?
Yeah, it'll have a full foundation. It's to minimize the grading, it's a walkout basement because the grade drops off as you go.
Yeah, you can see it
Towards
even
water.
from here.
So we'll have a lower level walkout basement, which will park 2 cars, it'll be a garage under. But that allows us to really do minimal grading here because the way the grade drops, it's almost perfect for a walkout. So there's no grading required in front. And when you look at the basement elevation, you're pretty much where you need to be. So it'll be minimum grading required.
So where's the garage entrance gonna be?
So what happens is there's an existing driveway when you enter now. You come into here it is. This is an existing drive, that's there.
Oh, okay,
So what we would, and that goes to a carport. They don't have a garage, they have a
okay,
carport.
they have a
for the
carport
house.
on that house.
So we would just turn in and the garage doors,
Okay,
garage under doors would be on.
So you're almost not extending the driveway at all, you're just adding a little spur,
just
if that.
adding something coming
Yeah,
out.
we'll put the turn in to get into the garage. That's about it.
So you don't probably even, I can't see from here, but you probably don't even have any piles with this one either, cause you're not gonna be pulling that much material out of any at all, right?
Is there
There's
a
a
stockpile
there's a
right
stock-
there?
We have a
Yeah.
topsoil stockpile
Okay.
here, and if the material we take out of here, there's
Yeah.
adequate area up in this corner here to lose it if we need to.
Okay.
So because it's a walkout, you know, there's not as much material as if you were digging a full basement. So that could be handled outside the upland review. So really, the only construction we're proposing within the review area is, I think it's like 1,800 square feet, it's 0.04 acres.
About 60% of the proposed structure, give or take.
And you know, the footing drain that goes along with it, and whatever we wind up doing for
Gutters.
infiltration.
That existing driveway, is it paved right now?
No.
And do they intend on paving it as part of this process?
No, it's gravel from the road back in.
Any major trees that we've got to take down or move for this process?
Guess we'll see on the sidewalk, but I didn't notice when we were out there.
Okay.
There's a knoll where this is going. The surveyor did locate the trees, if you see them over here, but we're kind of managed to stay away from them. But if, we'll know better when we go out there and look.
I mean, that drops off right into the reservoir pretty quick there.
It does,
Yeah, I can't see, what is that grade
Once you
roughly,
get to the edge of the driveway, right here.
Yeah.
You can see by the contours.
Yeah.
So it's probably 15% slope down.
Now, I'm just gonna throw a guess out about that, just slightly 20. Okay. But they're not touching the driveway toward the slope, they're only gonna touch the opposite side of the driveway, essentially, because you're not changing that driveway at all.
Yeah, I should say that we'll have to look at what this turn-in is.
Yeah.
Because it
That's
may be a little too tight to get in, so we may have to actually pull this out a little bit.
Okay, then that's what I'd be interested in, because that's really
I'll
tight.
adjust that on the plan before we
Okay.
do the sidewalk.
Alright. Okay. Guys have any questions?
Not till we get the sidewalk.
Okay. See you then.
Alright, I will propose that we continue this application in lieu of a site walk at our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Alright, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye, I went aye, you didn't say aye. Okay, sounds like we're good to go.
He's a quiet.
I know, he's a quiet eye. Thanks, Roger, appreciate it. Now we can move on to discussion, yes. 26 Leesville Road, Charles and Kathy Grillo, map 52, lot 32, for the drainage issue.
I
So,
was out on that property about a year ago. That's the one where the culvert goes under the garage,
yeah,
Yeah.
big problem.
it's big. It's big. And I met with both the owners today, you know, Grillo and with him, it just took us a while to, you know, schedule to get together. They weren't exactly thrilled with the options presented to them. And they rightfully so said, why are we doing this when the Planning and Zoning Commission in 1980 approved this plan with a intermittent stream and a pipe system underneath it?
Good night.
Granted, it wasn't large enough, but
Talk to planning
Well,
and zoning.
Huh? So,
Talk to planning and zoning.
well, it's so the other thing that they brought up and they pointed out rightfully is that 5 or 6 whatever years ago, Steve Edler from Public Works extended that pipe and had planned to do something else, and I had to remind him, I said I probably stopped him because we're not doing any pipe installation without an engineer's design and an easement from the property owner and an easement from the state of Connecticut to work going across the road. But on the other hand, cause it was approved in 1980, I was at UConn, so I know the liability of that. I sent an email to Public Works to Randy and to Irene this afternoon saying they weren't really thrilled and they really questioned why we're not taking some steps on it. And I'd like
what do
to
they
discuss.
expect the town to do?
Well, what I had put in there is that it ought to be cambered, number one. And if it's not if it's cambered and it's clogged, then it ought to be jetted and cleaned. And then a rack we put in place to
That's
stop
what we
it.
talked about already, right?
So that's the cheap, that's a cheap one
Yeah.
out of it. And if we do that and put a rack in there and then they maintain it and clean it like I say it has to be, then, maybe we'll solve the problem down the road, to just keep it walking away from it. This has been going back and forth on my desk for decades. And I basically kind of said, I'd like to resolve this sometime before I retire.
Yeah,
And
I guess my question is, that's great, not a problem, but my question is, why do we it's not even it's an honest question, not even a trick question. Why do we believe the town has the responsibility? I understand that the town approved this process.
Yeah.
But why does that now leave the town liable 20 years later when that pipe hasn't been properly maintained?
40,
Alright,
45.
I went to high school.
45.
I went to high school in the 80s, I'm trying to make myself feel as that old. So
Here's the problem. Talking to the Grillos today, he has approached the selectmen every decade. He was there in 86 and it flooded his yard in 86. So they should have addressed it while it was fresh on the approval and done something. They could have addressed it before the garage was built.
Okay, so I think I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is, this may be clogged and contributing to this, but hypothetically, even if it were perfectly clear, it was approved at this size in 1980 and it's not an adequate size, because the town approved it, the town is responsible not for the mismanagement, which is contributing, but
Correct.
potentially for the missizing.
So here's the worst part. They never even asked about the size.
Really?
It was existing. And they just moved on.
What does extending it have to do with hurting it or helping it? I'm just curious.
Well, so if you go and put a Band-Aid on a patient and you do it wrong, you now are in it.
No, I'm not questioning why it was stopped, but I'm saying, how do we think it would have contributed to helping it at all?
Well, what they didn't do is nobody, again, geez, imagine me saying this, nobody listens to me. And I said, if you're going to get involved in this, then you need to put some sort of trash rack in front of that pipe. And what concerns me the most is I finally got a period of rain going where I could get a flow and then look at it, and come Thursday, I'm going back. It bothered me that on the rainstorm of, a half inch, that the flows coming out didn't increase. That leads me to believe that there's restriction, because a 15-inch pipe can pass a lot of water.
So that was my next concern. If the town readies up and goes in and scopes it and cleans it, or scopes it and gives it the thumbs up, or probably not the thumbs up, but goes in and scopes it and cleans it, and everyone's happy, and the first rain comes and it backs up again.
Well, and install a trash rack. It's still
My point
something
is,
to work.
if the clog doesn't relieve the problem, if removing the clog doesn't relieve the problem because the size is incorrect, but it's your opinion that although it's missized, it's probably gonna correct this problem enough where it's not gonna be an issue, or as much of an issue.
That's
So
that's the first thing you should try to do. I mean, you really should, and then monitor it, because the alternative of a directional boring project
Yeah, it's super expensive.
is
So,
expensive.
so step one is scope it, which is not cheap, but not as bad as directional boring.
Mhm.
Do we have any idea who's proposing to pay for that scope at this point?
Well, that's, at this point, they're not happy, and they're thinking that the town should step to the plate.
Well,
And you know what? It's not our problem.
no, I get that.
It's the selectmen's decision.
So scoping is not even an issue, cause you're talking a couple $100.
Right.
Jet cleaning is a couple of $1,000, and so and now you've got a liability because, well, you guys jet cleaned it, it's still not working.
Well,
So,
it's the same argument as you guys came here and tried to help me and fix it, and, and then of course, you always say buyer beware, but the owner was not given any knowledge of it from the previous seller,
yeah,
that there was a pipe underneath there.
I get that, that's not the
Yeah.
town's problem, but
Yeah.
I think they've got a good argument by saying the town approved this at the incorrect size, and nobody's helped us in a long time, so we would like the town to investigate, and then we would like to discuss with the town the options of jetting.
So, to tell you right now, if this was brought before us today, we wouldn't approve it. The lot would never been there. There was an intermittent stream,
There still is.
so you don't build over an intermittent stream, you don't approve the lot. So that lot would have been eliminated. Maybe that pipe would have been too small, but you could fix it. You could put a larger pipe in.
I think step one before anybody does anything is to get it scoped, and for a couple $100, that doesn't seem like a big deal.
So
Then we have more information about what we
Right.
should do moving forward.
right now, from a administrative point,
Yeah.
I gave them options and all that. And now they're going back and they're saying, can you contact the selectman's office and say, we'd like them to step to the plate? And that's all there is to
emailed
it.
Irene today?
So they've already got that email with the, I'd like to resolve this before I retire statement. It's been,
And
I-
what plans are that?
huh?
Planning to retire?
As soon as I win lotto, how's that?
Yeah. You're gonna be here long
About a week
enough.
or so.
You could win $5 tomorrow.
That's right. So, the reality is that we don't have as I tried to tell them, the Wetlands Commission does not have a budget for this. The Wetland Commission doesn't have purview over this. We were asked to look at it with some common sense, practical applications, and the finance part, I told the Mr. Grillo, I said, it's not in our budget.
So do we table this until?
We don't need to do anything, it's just discussion. It's not,
It's with the selectmen, right?
it's just kinda.
It's not an application, it's,
Okay. I move we move on.
there we go.
Over that.
Second.
Do you have enforcement officer stuff for us?
Yeah, the BB Road, Public Works Director has asked Jacobson to give him a price to do a as-built of that roadway section.
Now, we made it clear it didn't need to be Jacobson, but go ahead.
But that she said, let's just do it. So she asked him to provide that. I was in a meeting with her on Monday about that yesterday. Yeah.
About the outwash.
That, right now, because I got a timeline from them, I now am putting together an application to the state for a drawdown.
Right.
So that'll
Is she gonna
give-
try and time it with that, or is she gonna
Yes.
farm that out?
Yes.
Cause I really would be happy if she could do that. I understand their limitations. The looked at the power lines the other day, I get it. And Randy's got a good point, he brought it up after I left, and that is that regardless of what the cost is, regardless of what the, not probably not the danger level, but that needs to be restored to the original condition, and if it costs the town money, so be it.
Yeah.
Mother Nature did it, and if we gotta foot the bill, then so be it. And leaving that outwash there is just not gonna be the original habitat, so we really do need to get it taken care of. I'm just hoping that our town folks can go, it says it doesn't cost us 40 grand, I think is what the
Well,
quote was.
because it's drained down and she's gonna gain almost 3 feet.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it becomes a whole different scenario of construction.
Alright,
So she was good with that. So for doing that, she also has Jacobson doing design for the other crossing.
yeah, the one closer to my house.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
was originally supposed to take place before this one blew out.
Well, exactly. So they're working on that. So that'll be coming to us probably midsummer, I think.
What do we think the timeline on that, once that starts, is that a week-long project or a month-long project?
Oh, it's months. They're looking at having to put piling in.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not
And it's not one side and the other side with one lane, they take the whole damn thing now.
gone.
Alright.
Yep.
Well, you know, BB Road's gonna be quiet, Randy, you'll be happy.
Yes. Again.
Alright,
So much fun.
yeah. One bridge opens, another one closes. What do we got for the forestry regulations
I
at this
haven't
point?
gotten to that because I gotta take it all apart again and give it to them in 2 separate pieces.
Remind me where, like, we proposed the changes, they were okay with the changes, but then they did something, so it had to come back in front of us again, but it was nominal, they moved something.
No, what they didn't like is that planning and zoning regulations had some old forestry regulations out of it. And they said it ought to be under us, and I said, well, it kind of is. So then I folded it all to one nice clean set of regulations, and that just freaked them. Because though it doesn't belong there, they need to be separate, which they don't legislatively, I know.
They just told you they didn't want them in planning.
I know that, so I just said, okay, I'll work on this when I have time to work at it.
Okay.
As long as I'm putting out other fires, it's one that doesn't need to be done. We've been managing it since 1990, well, Peter Hughes managed it before me, so. Since the 80s, we've been managing it. The only reason we have it is they sent out a survey to everybody and said, who's managing forestry operations? And I sent the thing back saying, okay, next thing I know legislatively, we are allowed to continue. Which has been working just fine.
Okay,
So,
you got anything else for us?
no, I don't.
I will entertain a motion to
adjourn.
Oh, there it is, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Adjourns at